Morning, Skylar. A lot of people will think, why not put them in tents? But it is very odd that seems to be, well, yesterday, the day before, it seemed to be the only idea that had any legs, and now it's being put off. What do you make of it? Where have we come to on this?
So, under the Immigration Act, the Home Secretary has a statutory obligation to provide destitute asylum seekers with accommodation. And that asylum support is provided by the Home Office while the asylum claim is being considered. So this is the period while the individuals are having interviews with the Home Office or waiting for a decision on the asylum claim. But at the same time, the UK, they can't be expected to provide resources they might not necessarily have. And these individuals, they don't have to claim asylum here. They can claim asylum in another country that they pass through, another safe country. And so if the UK doesn't have the money, they don't have the money. And we are dealing with an economic crisis at the moment. And Rishi himself did say that many illegal migrants start their journeys in safe countries. So they travel through safe countries many times to get here. And so he did say as well that it's unfair on those who come here legally and unfair on those who actually have genuine asylum claims.
And Skylar, on the front page of the Express this morning, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a row over the garrison at Catterick. This is in Rishi Sunak's constituency, and the army chiefs there are actually saying no to asylum seekers on army base barracks. And they're saying the reason for that is that these people represent a danger and a threat to the army and to the local communities. So now the army are stepping in and saying, not in our backyard.
Yeah, I mean, there is pushback. There is a pushback by various councils where they are trying to implement this. So, I mean, we will see ultimately what happens. But the Prime Minister, he identified ending the use of hotels as one of the 5 steps of his government was going to take to address the illegal migration. He said it's unfair and appalling that we're spending the kind of money that we are. So minimum 5.5 million a day on hotels to house asylum seekers. So the government is looking for alternative options. He confirmed that asylum dispersal arrangements would be reformed. And he has now announced what the reforms are going to be. And there is pushback on what those are.
I mean, much of the heat would be taken out of this dreadful situation if we had any confidence that the people who are coming in, whether they have to live in tents for a while or not, are being processed more quickly. Is there any evidence that we are doing that? We're actually getting through that process more quickly?
No. So the time frame, it takes a long time to process these asylum claims, and the asylum seekers, they cannot work for the first 12 months of their claims. So they're being housed in these hotels or soon to be other locations, and they're not able to work. They're being handed money to live on, and it's causing an issue. I mean, it's
Skylar, can I just interrupt you there? Why
Yes.
is it taking so long to process these people?
So there are not enough caseworkers to process these claims in a timely manner, and that's the main issue here.
What sort of things have to be looked into? I mean, you've got somebody standing in front of you who may well have come over the channel on a small boat, doesn't have any paperwork, and only has their own story, whether you believe it or not. What then happens? So the Home Office has a duty to look into the claim. The issue is that they have been overwhelmed with the asylum claims. There have been an influx of people coming in to the point where there is now a major backlog of these applications, and large amounts of the taxpayer money is being spent on housing them. As I mentioned, they're not allowed to work for the first 12 months. So it's clearly not sustainable, and there is a need to change this. And there is the implementation of the illegal migration bill that recently received royal assent, and that bill imposes a duty on the Home Secretary to make arrangements for the removal of a person from the UK if they entered the the UK in breach of immigration laws. So if they've travelled through a safe third country en route to the UK, and if they require leave to enter or remain but don't have it. So people that fall within this scheme will be removed either to their home country where it's deemed safe, or a safe third country where their claim for asylum will be processed. And the court recently ruled that the Rwanda deportation plan is unlawful. So we'll see what happens with that ultimately.
Okay, Skylar, how much of this thing is about optics? I mean, of course, Scampton was the home of the legendary dam busters. Many people feel it's a completely inappropriate place to even consider sending asylum seekers. It's almost sacred ground. And yesterday, GB News covered the touching story of a 98-year-old DDay veteran in Dorset who's been evicted from his house and can't even get a council house for up to 12 months.
And he was a DDay veteran.
He was a DDay veteran who landed on the beaches at Normandy, 98 years of age. He's now been told he can't even leave the country to go on holiday because that will forfeit the time he has to spend waiting for a house. And yet we can find £6 million a day for illegal immigrants coming over on small boats to be housed at the taxpayers' expense. This is an outrage to many people now, because it's simply a question of priorities. And also in Dorset, where that man was evicted, you can see on your screen the Bibby Stockholm barge, which will house thousands of these people at full taxpayers' expense. The British public have every right to feel frustrated about the government's priorities on this, don't they?
Absolutely, this doesn't work. It really doesn't work, and that's why it's not fair on people who are genuinely making asylum claims. There are far too many people making claims that are not necessarily genuine, and this doesn't work. It really doesn't work.
Just very quickly, Skylar, what it seems to be going on at the moment is that these people are arriving, and surely the onus should be on them to be able to prove to us that they are genuine refugees or asylum seekers, or for whatever reason. The onus should be on them. Instead, it seems the onus is on us to prove their case for them, and that's what's taking so long.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be, the onus is supposed to be on the individual coming in. So that is how it's supposed to be. It is up to them to prove their case.
And Skylar, there was a Daily Mail expose this week which showed some solicitors specifically coaching asylum seekers in what to say, what story they should do. How does that make you feel as a member of this community when you see such malpractice happening in Britain?
Yeah, I mean, I can't comment too much on those people. It's certainly not what solicitors should be doing. We are regulated by the Solicitors Regulation Authority, and it's completely against all of our principles to be conducting oneself like that. So, I completely disagree with that, absolutely.